A.
At Lucia Capital Group, we believe there are
So,
three
good
critical
morning,
steps
Facebook
that should
folks.
precede making any investment decision: education, advice, and planning. Education. Learn about available options and expand your understanding of investment products. Advice. Get guidance from experienced financial planning professionals who you feel understand your specific needs. Planning. Choose a strategy that consistently supports your investment decisions. Where can you go for financial guidance? Lucia Capital Group invites you to build your wealth education at wealthed.com. Wealthed.com features live and on-demand video programming featuring Lucia Capital Group advisors who will help educate you about investing, give guidance based on years of experience in the financial. Wealthed.com, the site dedicated to wealth education. Wealthed.com. Securities offered through Lucia Securities LLC, member SIPC, and a subsidiary of Lucia Capital Group, a registered investment advisor. All investments are subject to risk, including loss of principal.
Are you living with pain? So was Lisa, a brave Marine wounded in Iraq.
After surviving an explosion, I was on horrible painkillers. I tried 1 hour pain relief, and now I'm pain-free all day without dangerous side effects. And it works in less than 1 hour.
Try it free for 1 week and pay only the shipping with
All right, we got
no
10
automatic
seconds.
shipments. Call 800-269-4200 right now or visit onehourpainrelief.com. That's 800-269-4200. 800-269-4200.
The following
Morning,
program
Valley.
does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
It's time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate Radio with Tom Perry. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today.
Welcome to the show.
Get ready. The guide
All
that will
right,
put your
Mr.
fears
Perry.
behind you is on the air now.
All right,
Taking
hot
calls at
mics in 5,
713-785-1817.
4,
Toll
3,
free 877-881-0271. Now here's your host, Tom Perry.
Hey, welcome to the show. It is Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. That's 713-785-1817. We're a call-in show. If you want to call in, ask some questions, or you can join us at the Book of Faces at Right Path Real Estate. There's all other different ways that you can listen to us. Also, you can go to business1110ktek.com. That's our terrestrial radio station website. You can also go to our Right Path Real Estate page, and I believe we have all of our podcasts there as well. And so easy to find out where we are. I want to tell you about an event we have coming up next week, Thursday, July 6th. So after you come back from celebrating the independence of the birth of our country, what is it, 200 and... It's a bunch of years. 240-something years, 41 years. Is that it? I think that's right. 241 years, give or take. And once you celebrate that with fireworks and whatever barbecue and beverage of your choice, then come back, rest up on Wednesday, come to see our evening event on Thursday. It's going to be at our office address here at 11451 Katy Freeway. We're on the 3rd floor of the University of Phoenix building. What would be best for you is to go to our rightpathrealestate.com webpage, scroll down to the bottom where it says events, and register. All the details of the event will be right there. It starts at 6. The vendor program and the networking starts at 6 o'clock. And then if you're a real estate agent, we're trying to work together and have an MCE class. It's not 100% on the schedule yet, but hopefully we'll have that before the event actually happens on the 6th. We're also trying to have some construction squeezed in to expand the size of our space. We had a great turnout last week, but we were a little bit cramped space-wise, so we're trying to double the space size. Let's see. Andy said, fixed your shirt on it. Yeah. Oh, well. It happens, Andy. But thanks for trying, and I'm sure you'll get it up. So there you go. Then the other thing is, so just register for the event, and then you will also get 2 free drink tickets for the event. Yeah, it seems like we've got this green screen that shows the beautiful downtown Houston skyline, and Andy, our audio, video, and lighting guy, he made some adjustments to it so that yesterday my shirt was kind of see-through because of the green screen. And so you could see the background, and today it looks like that my hair is kind of disappearing into the background. So maybe that's what. Maybe if I scoot back this way, that helps a little bit. We also probably need to change our studio lighting. I'm sure you'll get it all figured out. So back to real estate investing. So there's lots of groups out there that will teach you wholesaling. There's a few groups out, at least one group out there that teaches you how to do buy and hold investing. We teach you how to buy and hold, how to buy, fix, and flip, and how to wholesale. And we teach you real estate investing, not real estate speculating. Now, there's a big difference there. Sometimes people will call me up and say, hey, what about this particular neighborhood? Or will you do these, burn houses? Or what is it that you really like to invest in? And here's what I like. I like to buy properties at a discount to today's market value based on the condition that the property's in right now. So let's say that a retail property that's been fully fixed up in an older neighborhood is selling for $300,000. And that in order to get the house that I'm looking at buying up to retail ready, it needs $100,000 worth of work. Well, then I know that if I'm going to spend time doing that, I'm going to have 10% closing cost when I sell the house. I'm going to have about 10% holding costs, and I want to make at least 10% profit for the risk that I'm taking. So I want to make at least $30,000 on that. And so that means that I need to buy it at a minimum of, on a $300,000 house, is $90,000 off of that $300,000 sales price. So I start at $210,000, and then I subtract the amount of repairs that it needs. So if it needs $100,000 worth of repairs, then I want to be able to buy that for $110,000. Now, I can do that because the marketplace allows me to buy at a discount based on the fact that there's fewer property buyers that want to buy a house in really bad condition and go through the hassle and the struggle and, the experience of doing a $100,000 rehab. So there's actually two supply and demand curves that we're operating on. One is the supply and demand curve of the as-is condition, and then the other is the future supply and demand curve of people that want to buy properties and fully retail move-in ready. There's a lot more buyers like that. And so we're making as an investor, we're not really speculating it's going to be worth more when it's finished. We already know because we can study the comps. We can look at, what an appraisal will tell us that the value of it will be when it's fully finished. And that's what we teach people how to do, is find those kind of properties that are off market, how to market for those deals, how to negotiate and buy those deals. It's a selling process. And what's unusual about the selling process is that we're really selling to a seller. So we're the buyer, they're the seller, but we're selling to them to let us buy, which is an unusual. I've been in sales a long time, and that's an unusual sale. But if you want to build wealth and you're starting with a relatively modest amount of capital right now, if you've got time but don't have capital, that's workable. If you've got capital and you don't have a lot of time, that's workable. The best scenario is if you have time and capital. That's your highest rate of success rate. The most difficult thing is if you have no time and no capital. And one of the things that we talk about is doing the thing that is your number one, the thing that you're 10 at. If you were to rate yourself on 10 different attributes, you're going to be a 8 or 9 at some things, you're going to be a 2 or 3 at some things, you're going to be a 4, 5, or 6 at some things. And one of the things that we teach is do the things that you're an 8 or a 9 at. Get better at those. It's more likely that you can take something you're a 9 at and become a 10 at that, because capitalism rewards excellence. If you're really excellent at something, you will be rewarded handsomely for that skill set because of capitalism. If you're a 2 or 3 at something and you get twice as good at that, you're still only a 4, 5, or 6. And capitalism does not reward mediocrity. We want to pay for outstanding performance, for outstanding service, for outstanding products, those kind of things. We'll pay more for premium. But we don't want to pay more for mediocre. In fact, we actually oftentimes will take our dollars and walk away from mediocre. So the thing is to work on the things that you're an 8 or a 9 at, become a 10 at that, and then also determine that you may be great at doing something, like you may be great at washing dishes, but capitalism says, hey, we don't really value the skill set of washing dishes. Dishwashers they make minimum wage. So even if you're a 10 at washing dishes, you have to do the thing that you're best at that gets you the highest rate of return for your time invested. I find oftentimes people are doing things, they're wondering why they're struggling financially when they're doing things that are not as worthy of their time from a monetary standpoint in order to grow their business. Now, if you're independently wealthy, you love to paint, that's a hobby, that's fine. It's great to do whatever you want to do as a hobby. But don't do it as a business venture. I had a guy one time tell me, I was walking a house with him, and he was a brand new investor. I believe he was an investment banker. That's what he was as a profession. And he had saved up quite a bit of money. I think he had about maybe $250,000 set aside, and he wanted to get big into buy and hold. And his goal was to buy 10 properties over the next 12 months. And I saw this as an opportunity for my construction company at the time to be able to develop a relationship with one guy. If he gets success on the first property, then he'll do the second. Gets success on that, he'll do the third, then the fourth. And if he uses me and has a great experience on the first one, I've got a customer that not just worth one remodel, but he's worth 10 remodels to me over the course of the next 12 months if I do right by him. And that was really my philosophy in growing Fast Track from the very first time that I started it. So we do this walkthrough. I'm putting everything into the iPad app, and we're creating a scope of work as we go. We're going room by room, and we're making decisions as we go about lighting and about plumbing and about electrical and flooring and wallpaper and all those kind of things. And we're building this scope of work, and we get finished, and I show him the finalized scope of work that has the total. Hey, we're going to do all this stuff, and let's say it was $27,000 to do the complete remodel, to bring this house that was in really rough shape, to bring it up to rental grade, ready to be rented, so that it would reduce phone calls in the middle of the night, it would reduce the liability, and it would increase his rentability of his property. So it'd make it really completely rental ready and almost nuisance free for the next 5 years, provided he did his job on screening the tenant. Well, he comes along to me and he says, "Hey, Tom, I want you to take tile out of the rehab estimate on the job." And I said, well, that's interesting. Why would you do that? Did you find somebody to do tile cheaper? And he goes, no. I want to figure out how to do a different aspect of each of the rehabs over the next 10 rehabs that I do, and I want to start with tile. So it's starting with flooring, and I'm going to work my way up. He said, I think that will make me a better investor. If I know how to learn how to do the tile, then I learn how to do some of the plumbing, learn how to do some of the electrical, learn how to do some of the painting, the sheetrock repairs. All of those things will make me a better investor. And I looked at him and said, no, my tile guy makes like $15 an hour, and he's in his late 30s, and he lays about 1,000 square feet of tile a day, and he's got a bad back. If you want to be like him, then learn how to lay tile. But you want to be an investor, study how to do more investments. So we're going to be talking about valuing your time on the other side of the break. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Feel free to give us a call, 713-785-1817.
Mike's off.
Andy agreed with that. Oh, heck.
Virtuoso Graphics is not your ordinary sign shop. Woo! We're your one-stop shop for all your signage and graphics needs. We're located in the Galleria area and have been in business for over 13 years. We offer a wide variety of signage products, including Bandit, aluminum, and ADA compliant signs to 3D letters. Need something printed? We can get that done too. From outdoor banners to business cards and anything in between. Take advantage of our laser engraving services. We can custom engrave on many products available through our catalogs or your own personal items. From large orders to small, we can accommodate your specific needs. We pride ourselves on customer service and work one-on-one with customers to make sure they get a good quality product. Come view our showroom to browse our many samples to get you inspired. Want your business to get noticed? Give us a call at 713-623-4425 or visit our website at virtuoso-graphics.com.
Are you expecting to close accurately, on time, and with lots of communication on your home purchase? You've come to the right place. I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Senior Loan Officer with Legacy Mutual Mortgage. Our goal is to give our borrowers and referral partners an amazing experience during the loan process. My team believes in putting people and culture before results. Our company concentrates on building those teams who operate with structure, process, and recognition for going the extra mile for you. This way, we have the energy to make this your best home purchase ever. Give us a call today to find out the simple steps to get started. I'm Jennifer Hernandez, the Hernandez team at Legacy Mutual Mortgage. Jennifer.legacymutual.com or call 713-579-3611. Again, Jennifer.legacymutual.com. We can't wait to consult with you soon. NMLS 514497.
Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. NMLS 514497.
All right, Tom, we got 2 minutes.
Are you an active real estate investor? If so, a real estate attorney is a crucial member to add to your team.
Contact Aylert Law at 346-231-1120.
I'm multitasking here.
Aylert Law serves clients in real estate and business law with principal offices in Houston and their acquisitions and dispositions. We are equipped to serve you in your residential and commercial real estate law needs. Contact Aylert Law at 346-231-1120. We draft and review docs and structured transactions and represent you in disputes and litigation. Or choose one of our transaction packages to cover your sub-2, wholesale, wraps, or private financing deals. Our business and commercial services include business contracts, entity formations, and business consultations. If you need a reliable, dedicated firm to serve on your team, contact Aylert Law at 346-231-1120. 346-231-1120. Paid for by Gerald Aylert, Principal Offices in Houston, not board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization.
If you have cracks in your walls, ceilings, or floors, you may have a foundation leveling problem. Do you have doors that stick or just won't open right? Maybe you have gaps in the bricks of your fireplace. You need Green Tree Foundation Leveling, a fast, high-quality foundation leveling company based here in Houston. They know how hot it gets on the Gulf Coast. High summer temperatures, heavy rainfall, and clay-rich soils are leading causes of foundation cracks. If you have a cracked slab or a shifting foundation, call Green Tree Foundation Leveling at 832-329-1687. How old is your house? Many older homes in our area require foundation repair simply because of our climate and soil conditions. Green Tree Foundation Leveling provides free estimates within 24 hours. They repair concrete slab foundations and pier and beam homes too. The experts at Green Tree Foundation Leveling work fast and offer competitive rates, even a lifetime transferable warranty. Call 832-329-1687 to schedule an appointment with Green Tree Foundation Leveling.
This is Business 1110.
I'll be right back. Call Jason or Tom at 713-785-1817 or look for us on Facebook Live at facebook.com/RightPathRealEstate.
All right, welcome back, Right Path Real Estate Radio. That was different. Well, you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. 713-785-1817 is our call-in number. And we're also, as you heard from the intro, that you can go to Facebook.com, like our Right Path page. You can watch us on the Book of Faces. I always love it when people come up to me at networking events and say, hey, I watch you every day on your radio show, which always sounds interesting to me that people are watching radio shows. So I guess, are they listening to television? I don't know. I digress. So back to calculating what your time is worth. Here's the thing. I find that when entrepreneurs are struggling, they're doing tasks that they should be outsourcing because they have a poverty mindset. It's not an abundance mindset. I had partnered with a handyman, a guy that had a handyman business for a short period of time. When we first got started, I drove with him to see what a typical day was like in his life. And we drove to 3 different Home Depots, 2 different Lowe's, and a McCoy's to pick up materials at a job site. Or pick up materials at the store and take them to different job sites around town. And I asked him, I said, hey, first off, why are we going to so many, like 5 different stores? I mean, he goes, well, this one doesn't stock this kind of door, and this one, you know, the doorknobs are cheaper, and this one only offers this kind of locks, and this one has this. I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, you know, if you build a relationship, one thing is if you standardize the materials that you're buying, which is one of the things that I like the investor business so much is, you know, we use a very similar front door on almost all the properties that we do. And we paint it the same color. And we paint the interiors the same color. And so when you're dealing with standardization as opposed to customization, then you don't really have any stock issues. One of the things that I see that a lot of investors do is they pick a different kind of flooring or a different kind of, you know, texture or tile or those kind of things on every single job. And if you don't standardize, you know, what'll happen is you did, let's say you maybe bought a box or too little tile because there were more broken tiles in there. And then now that particular tile was a special that was on sale, had a special price for that time period. They sold out of it. More's coming in, but it won't be in for 2 weeks. Now you spend hours and hours driving around all over town or calling when you should be going out looking for your next deal because you're general contracting it yourself. You're looking for, you know, the matching tile, or you go, oh, well, it doesn't have to match exactly. Maybe I can do an accent piece or something like that. You know, you're like figuring out all the different workarounds. Like, no, standardize on the tile that there's certain tiles that they're going to have in stock for the next 10 years because they're their best sellers. They're always going to have them in stock. Negotiate the best price that you can get on those. Buy it from one store. Have the store ship the tile. Because, tile's heavy to load onto your truck and offload off the truck. You know that Home Depot or Lowe's or whoever you want to build a relationship with will deliver all that stuff to you. But it's what's your time worth? I asked this guy that we were partnered together in this handyman business, I asked him, hey, what's your time worth? And he goes, I don't really know. I've never really thought about it before. And I said, well, is it worth $1 million an hour? And he goes, well, no. And I said, was it worth $1 an hour? And he goes, well, heck no. And then I said, well, now that we have it bracketed, what do you think it's worth? And he goes, let's say I want to make $100,000 a year. And I said, well, okay, let's say you work 50 weeks out of the year. That works out to like $2,000 a week. And take 2 weeks of vacation off that you don't make any money. So that's $100,000 over 50 weeks. So let's say that you're going to work 50 hours a week. So that's about $40 an hour. If you want to work 40 hours a week, it's $50 an hour. So let's say you're worth somewhere between $40 and $50 an hour on a $100,000 a year income. I said, so would you ever hire someone for $40 an hour to go out to McCoy's or Lowe's or Home Depot and pick up materials and take them to the job site? And he goes, well, heck no. And I go, then why are you doing that task? I was talking to somebody just recently, won't name any names, but he's really good at doing QuickBooks, and he runs his own business. And he goes, I just realized, not only am I good at it, I like doing it. And he goes, but I just realized that I have to hire somebody to free up that time to do more important tasks. And when you say more important, you're really meaning tasks that earn you more on an hourly basis. And that's really the difference between people that are successful in business and people that are not successful in business, is they do the most important dollar-wise for the business. So going back to this guy that was the investment banker, and he said he wanted to lay his own tile. So it wasn't really about saving the money. He thought that if he learned how to lay tile, if he learned how to trowel and, lay it straight and put down the little spacers and grout it and all that was going to make him a better investor. And I said, no, that's going to be making you a better tile layer. And tile layers, I don't know a single tile layer that's a good investor. I don't know many investors that are good tile layers. So those are totally different skill sets. It'd be almost like a CPA that wants to study medicine, so he'll be a better CPA. And it's like, wait, those are totally unrelated fields. I mean, so be careful what it is, the path that you get on, because once you get on that path of wrong thinking, one wrong thought oftentimes leads to a second wrong thought that leads to a third wrong thought that leads to wrong actions. And then wrong actions lead to wrong outcomes. So if you're looking at the outcome I want to be is I want to be a better, or I want to have is I want to have the experience of being a better investor. Well, work backwards from that. If the outcome is being a better investor, how do I practice being a better investor? Well, it's finding things at a discount. And we have to define what's the difference between an investor and a speculator. I would say that speculators are people that buy something at today's price and hope it goes up in value sometime in the future. Well, inflation tells us long-term that should happen, right? And we consistently long-term have had, somewhere between 1% and 3% inflation year over year, for decades, right? And historically, the people that do stocks, they say historically, the stock market's always returned about 10% year over year over basically an infinite number of years since the stock market existed. But that doesn't mean it's always going to happen this year or next year, or, they always say past results do not predict future performance. I mean, where the stock market is right now based on a value standpoint just scares the snot out of me. It's ridiculous how much money, what happens in the marketplace when you have, let's say that you had $1 billion worth of assets that you wanted to sell. But you had a couple of trillionaires that were competing to buy assets to put their money to work. Well, the price would, no one's ever heard of a trillionaire before, right? But if you had some trillionaires competing for that marketplace, then the price, supply and demand economics 101 says that price has to go up. And that's what we have right now, is that we have lots of people that are invested in the marketplace, and aren't personally managing, like actively managing. They're not really knowledgeable of what it means. So money, if they're a school teacher or if they're, an employee, whether they're a receptionist or, a mid-level manager or even executive, and they're working for, oil and gas business or, a Fortune 500 company, whatever it is, most of those have like 401ks and IRAs, and, the 401k, the company will match the first, 3% of the first, 10% of your income. You can set aside up to 10%. They'll match the first 3%, those kind of thing. People want to max out their 401ks, and they pick from these funds, but they're not really paying attention. They look and see, hey, how did my fund do this year versus last year? But they really only check in once a year. And people aren't really paying attention to the fact that because everybody is dumping their money into these funds, that these funds become overvalued. And what ends up happening is it's the equivalent of paying like $1 billion for your corner neighborhood gas station, that if anybody actually were going to buy that individual gas station, that Chevron station on the corner, near where you work or something like that, the going price for a corner gas station should be about $1 million. Nobody in their right mind would ever pay $1 billion for that, like 1,000 times what it's actually worth. But when you look at a lot of these stocks, if you understand what PE means in stocks, that's essentially what you're doing. You're paying $1 billion for an asset worth $1 million, which is ridiculous. Or in some cases, it's 500 times asset value or something like that. It's crazy. You're taking all the net income that a company has made over the last year, and you're multiplying that out, not times 1 or 2 or 3 years for like a 3-year payback or even a 5-year payback, something like that. I remember my dad sold an alarm company back in the 80s, and the going rate at the time was you took monthly revenue on alarm monitoring. So if you're paying $20 a month for alarm monitoring, then companies were buying those monitored accounts for like 20 to 25 times monthly revenue. So that meant that one account paying $20 a month, at 25 times monthly was worth like $50, and it was a high margin business. On a large scale. So that was 25 times revenue, not profit, revenue. Now that's a pretty big multiple, but it was probably only like 20 times net revenue. So actually 30 times net profit is what I mean. Probably 30 times net profit on a monthly basis, not yearly. So you're talking about 2.5, maybe 3 years net revenue to pay all of that back. So that'd mean if a company's making $1 million a year, that it would take about 3 years, $3 million would be the purchase price, 3 years to pay it back. Well, that's not a bad payback, especially considering that the average Fortune 500 company today is at 28.5 times annual profit.
2 minutes.
So if a Fortune 500 company is making $1 billion a year in profit, and they were to pay out 100% of that in dividends, that right now that company is making it's selling for $28.5 billion. That's the average among all the Fortune 500 companies. Now, so to buy a company like that, hoping that it goes up in the future, that's really what you're doing, is you're crossing your fingers and hoping in the marketplace that it's going to go up in the future. Because you're certainly not buying something with a decent rate of return where you're going to get a payback in 3 to 4 or 5 years. You're just hoping that some greater fool in the future, there's going to be more buyers of that stock, that there's going to be more money coming in, that in the future that $28.5 billion company is going to be worth $30 billion or $35 billion. And the trouble is we do these mental gymnastics to make it work in our head. It's like, well, I don't have any place else to put the money, and in my company, they're matching 30% of whatever I put in, so it makes sense. But the problem is that there's very little opportunity for growth in a lot of these big, really huge companies. You can do it by acquisition, but the only way to acquire it is to buy another company that's already overpriced, and you got to do that with leverage. So now you've got debt buying, overpriced companies, and that's a downward spiral. So I'm concerned about the state of that. What I do like is that in the real estate market, I can buy an asset at a discount to net present value. We'll talk more about that on the other side of the break. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Our call-in number is 713-785-1817. If you've got marketing questions, if you've got how to find property questions, if you have sales questions, if you want to learn how to find fund or flip deals, wholesaling, flipping, buy and hold, any of those, give us a call.
Mike's off.
Are small returns getting in the way of your retirement plans? Why settle for mediocre results? There's a better place to invest. The experts agree. Single-family real estate is one of the best investments you can make. Find out how JB Fund Services offers a 9% preferred return and up to a 13% waterfall. Call us today at 281-915-0906 or visit our website, jbfundservices.com. That's 281-915-0906. This investment is offered to accredited investors.
Rehab loans, conventional loans, FHA, and no-income documentation loans can seem scary unless you have the right mortgage company to guide you through the process. Since 2003, Noble Mortgage has been helping investors just like you. Whether rehabbing houses, buying your first home, rental, or commercial property, Noble Mortgage offers up to 100% financing. Call Noble Mortgage at 713-680-8100 or visit noblemoney.com. That's noblemoney.com.
NMLS 292143, 8203 Willow Place Drive, Houston, Texas, 77070.
Have you ever experienced the pain of trying to get MLS comps for your hot lead? If you've lost deals waiting for MLS comps, you can understand the frustration. How much would it help you if you no longer had to wait for a real estate agent to get you the info you need to close a deal? Propelio is a brokerage website that gives you instant 24/7 access to high-equity lead lists and comps with access to a network of the top real estate agents. Get an edge on everyone else. Get a free 7-day trial today by going to getmlscomps.com now. That's getmlscomps.com.
You found or inherited a great investment property. Problem is, you don't know how much it's worth, or more importantly, what to do to maximize your investment while mitigating risk. This is exactly why we started Next Gen Appraisals. Next Gen is a group of appraisers specializing in investment real estate. We understand that investors aren't just looking for a number of what their property is worth, but a comprehensive analysis of the market. Give Next Gen a call at 713-346-9911 or check us out online at nextgenappraisals.com.
Do you have cracks in your brick, doors that stick, or sheetrock that's coming apart? Then you may have foundation movement. Due to our expansive soils in the Houston area, it's probably not a question of if you have movement, but when. Call Foundation Check for a truly independent, unbiased foundation evaluation. Foundation Check has been in business since 2009 and has completed over 1,400 evaluations. We're not in the business of repairing foundations or selling you unnecessary peer work, but we are in the business of evaluating your foundation. Our product is designed for house flippers, landlords, or even owner-occupied properties. Each of our files is reviewed by a licensed engineer. Remember to check before every repair. Call 346-702-3825. That's 346-702-3825. Or you can reach us online at foundationcheck.com. That's foundationcheck.com.
Did you know that there are over $24 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S.? Imagine if you could use someone's IRA to fund all of your deals. Well, you can. Quest IRA is based locally here in Houston, Texas. At Quest IRA, we offer retirement accounts that can be used to invest in real estate, promissory notes, private entities, and much more. Many of our clients loan money from their IRAs to fund real estate deals all over the country. We don't sell any investments or give advice. However, we do hold free networking events, weekly educational classes, and free consultations with an IRA specialist. For more information, visit our website at questira.com or call us at 1-855-FUN-IRAs. To tap into the $24 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S., call Quest IRA at 1-855-FUN-IRAs or go to our website, questira.com.
This is Business 1110.
Call Jason or Tom at 713-785-1817. Or look for us on Facebook Live at facebook.com/RightPath Real Estate.
All right, there we go. You know what, Nikki, I'm definitely going to want the music underneath that.
Yeah, it's throwing me off. Yeah, it's fine.
So welcome back, Right Path Real Estate Radio listeners. I'm interacting with Nikki. If you're listening on the Book of Faces, you can hear that interaction. If you're just listening to us on terrestrial radio, then you're not hearing that. You're hearing me talk to somebody that you're not hearing the other side of the conversation. So good morning, Mike Payne. And if I shout out to people, it's because I see that they're joining us on our Facebook page. So all they're doing is going to Facebook.com and liking our Right Path Real Estate. So it's Facebook.com/Right Path Real Estate is our page. Also, you can go to RightPathRealEstate.com and find out about all the events that we're going to have coming up. So our next event in Houston, Texas is going to be July the 6th. So we've got a big 4th of July celebration coming up next week. And then on Thursday, come on out to our event. It's going to be free to come to. We're going to be talking about our predictions for what's going to be happening in real estate in the third quarter. It's free to go to, but we would like you to register. If you register, you get 2 free tickets. And I think this will be the last event that what we'll do is it'll always be free registration, and it'll always be free to attend as long as you register. But I believe in the near future, we're going to be going to $10 at the door if you don't register, but free if you do register. So make sure that you register. And we appreciate you showing up, and hopefully since the group is growing, it apparently is worth people's time. Because, we're telling the truth about what it is to be a real estate investor. I've read in so many different sources it must be true that there's more millionaires, self-made millionaires that become millionaires through real estate than through any other source. So I've never heard of a millionaire becoming a millionaire strictly through stock investing except for Warren Buffett. He's one of the few guys, but if you look at what Warren Buffett does versus what the typical investor does, he's an investor, not a speculator. So he's not going out there and buying Exxon stock. And I don't even know what Exxon stock is trading at right now. And I'll look it up real quick on Google. But so Exxon stock, I think it's $83 a share when I was looking at it. I looked at it about a month ago. It's $83 a share. And guess what? Right now it's at $81.63. So imagine you bought 1,000 shares and you would have spent $83,000 plus commissions to your broker, right? And right now, instead of having $83,000 in your account, you'd have $81,660. That's what I call speculation. Here's the thing is, if you buy Exxon stock today or any other stock, I'm not picking on Exxon. It could be Apple or Amazon or Google, or Alphabet or whoever, right? If you're buying those stocks at today's market price, if I call up my broker right now, it just went to $81.64. So if I said my broker, I want 1,000 shares, and he'd say, okay, put $81,640 in the account, and I'll buy those for you. Plus commissions. Don't forget about that. So then a year from now, what's it going to be worth? Is it going to be worth $81.64? Is it going to be worth $90? Is it going to be $70? I don't know, and neither does anybody else. If you can say, I don't know what it's going to be worth a year from now, what I can tell you is if you buy it today as an investment, you are not an investor. You are purely a speculator. And speculators, I find, long-term, don't do very well. Now, but Tom, I know this guy, and he bought this thing, and he only paid 2 cents for it, and, it was worth $200 in just, 10 years. And I'm like, yeah, good for him. A blind squirrel gets a nut every now and then, right? So I'm not talking about, what one person did, that you happen to know. I'm talking about what is duplicatable or repeatable day in and day out, month in and month out, week in and week out, year after year after year. I know that if I can buy a piece of property that is trading at retail at $100 a square foot, and I can buy it for $40 a square foot, and I can put $30 a foot into it in terms of repairs. I own that property at $70 a foot, and then I can turn around and sell it for $100 a foot. So I'm making $30 a foot, not counting my holding cost or my closing cost when I sell it. So if I take out my holding cost and my closing cost, I'm making $30 a foot. So all I have to do that with is like 1 million square feet a year, and I'm done, right? I'm having a pretty good year. Or I can do it with 100,000 or 10,000 or 50,000, and just understand that if I'm doing that on a 1,000 square foot house, or I'm doing it on a 2,000 square foot house or a 3,000 square foot house, that's what it tells you that you're making. But it's pretty easy from a macro math standpoint to be able to say, if I buy something for $40 a foot, put $30 a foot into it, and it's worth $100 a foot, it's pretty simple to see that that's going to work from a money standpoint. Here's the problem. Sometimes people will go out and start doing their marketing, and there's some neighborhoods that, in fact, I was talking to one of our mastermind students last night about this. There's a neighborhood in town that I know of that the going price for the neighborhood's about $90 a foot. Has been about $90 a foot for the last 10 or 15 years. I think 10 or 15 years from now it'll be worth about $90 a foot. And if you find a house that really needs about $20 a foot worth of work, you can maybe pick it up for $60 or $65 a foot. The trouble is that even when a house needs a lot of work or it's fully fixed up, there's not enough of a reward in the marketplace. It doesn't allow you enough of a difference in that spread to go from that $60 or $65 a foot, put $20 a foot into it. Now you're at $80 or $85. You're not making money if you're selling it for $90. But Tom, I'm making $5 or $10 a foot. No, you're really not, because we're not taking into consideration in that standpoint the difference between the closing cost and the holding cost. We're only looking at 2 of the cost of the 4 costs. You know, you have to understand when you're going to scale this as a business. And I was teaching a group of kids yesterday. Daryl Dyke at Noble Mortgage, he held a class in our offices yesterday and then also a week ago. And the youngest in the class was 9, and the oldest in the class was 15. I mean, what a great age to be learning about practical real estate investing. So I was asked to come in and speak for about 30 minutes on real estate as a business versus real estate as a transaction. Because, you know, somebody can go in as a hobby. In fact, you know, I remember as a kid thinking about, you know, the trick to building wealth long term is you go in, and when you're younger, you buy a house that needs some work. You go in there, you live in the house. You buy a house that's maybe worth $100,000 because it needs a lot of work. You live in the house for 2 years, and you fix it all up yourself. You spend 2 years, you know, working your weekends, doing that kind of work, you know, replacing the floors and painting the walls and doing the cabinets and, you know, replacing the plumbing fixtures and the toilets and the bathtub, and you get good at doing all those things. And then you turn around and you sell the house in 2 years for like $160,000, and maybe you put $20,000 of materials in it. So you made $40,000, and you got to live there for all the, you know, for those 2 years, right? Well, then you sell it for $160,000, and then you do the same thing with a bigger house. You take that same $160,000 and you put it into another house, and then you know, over the next 2 years, you're living in the house and fixing it up, and you sell that house for $300,000. You keep building yourself up until, you know, you're in $1 million houses, right? It's great on paper. There's some downside to that, though. One is you're not ever accounting for your time. You're just donating your time. The second thing is you can only do one house every 2 years. And the third thing is that you're constantly living in a construction zone. And so, and then essentially what you're doing is you're being paid for all those hours that you're investing in those houses. You're being paid at the same rate that you could hire that out. In other words, when you're replacing the bathtub, you're being paid what a handyman would charge for, which is about, you know, $17-18 an hour for replacing the bathtub. And then you're having to learn it, because you're not even doing it as fast as a guy that does it day in and day out. I mean, the guy that works, you know, for Fast Track, that replaces the bathroom faucets or does the bathtubs or puts in the toilets or puts in ceiling fans or all those kind of things. They're really fast at doing those things because that's all they do every single day. You know, I know right now if I get a flat tire on my Prius, it takes me about 20 minutes to change one tire. But I promise if I worked at a Discount Tire and I had all my tools ready and things like that, I could probably change a tire in about 5 minutes. For myself. Now, I know Discount Tire, because of the line, things like that, it might take you 45 minutes or an hour to get your tires done at Discount Tire. But it's not certainly as fast as a NASCAR race car driver team. But the more you do something, typically the faster you're going to get at it. Until you reach a, you know, there's a certain pace at which it's getting, like a ceiling fan, for example. You know, people say, well, I can change a ceiling fan in 30 minutes. Well, that's true, but you better budget an hour. Because by the time you go and get the ceiling fan out of the garage, you know, where all your material's being stored, and you carry it into the bedroom where it's going to be installed, or the living room, and you get your ladder out and you get all your tools positioned and you start taking the stuff out of the box. I mean, you're going to spend, it's going to be about an hour start to finish.
2 minutes.
And if you're doing just one versus you're doing 3, maybe it won't take you 3 hours to do 3. It's going to take you, you know, 2.5 hours. There's some economies of scale, but you always have to budget a little bit more time than what it's actually going to take you. So back to speculating versus investing. So as investors, what we're trying to do is we're trying to buy properties at a discount to what the future value is, but it's a calculated risk. The only risk that we're really taking, there's 2 risks that we can really make a mistake on. One is when we calculate the ARV, the after repair value. If we miss that number, that can cost us a lot, probably more than anything else. If we think the house is going to sell for $400,000 and it sells for $325,000, we've missed big. That $75,000 mistake, oftentimes people won't recover. How does a mistake like that happen? Well, we pull wrong comps. On the other side of the break, I'll wrap this up by talking about a guy that Jason and I, when we first were getting started, there's two brothers. They're real estate agents. And so they're really good at running comps. But they were comping across a bayou. And, down here in Houston, we have, like Braeswood Bayou, for example. Everything south of Braeswood Bayou was never sold for north of $700,000, even new construction. And they were comping, properties that were north of Braeswood. And they said, but it's the same school district and the same zip code and all those kind of things. And when you have they say all real estate is local, right? The marketplace is always local. So they were getting $1.2, $1.3 million comps, and the market said, no, you're wrong. You missed on that. And so here it is almost 4 years later, and they still own a house that they never intended to own this long. And I don't know that the market will ever turn around anytime in the next 5 or 10 years. They're going to own this house for a long, long time. They've got a lot of money tied up in this house. And I haven't checked in on them in a while, but I'm 99% sure that they still own this house. So you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. We're going to talk about the 3 other ways that you can miss the numbers and make a mistake. But other than that, knowing the right path that you're trying to get on is easy to do. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio.
Mike's off.
Hey, good morning, Aunt Sherry.
Rehab loans, conventional loans, FHA, and no-income documentation loans can seem scary unless you have the right mortgage company to guide you through the process. Since 2003, Noble Mortgage has been helping investors just like you. Whether rehabbing houses, buying your first home, rental, or commercial property, Noble Mortgage offers up to 100% financing. Call Noble Mortgage at 713-680-8100 or visit noblemoney.com. That's noblemoney.com.
NMLS 292143, 8203 Willow Place Drive, Houston, Texas, 77070.
You found or inherited a great investment property. Problem is, you don't know how much it's worth, or more importantly, what to do to maximize your investment while mitigating risk. This is exactly why we started Next Gen Appraisals. Next Gen is a group of appraisers specializing in investment real estate. We understand that investors aren't just looking for a number of what their property is worth, but a comprehensive analysis of the market. Give NextGen a call at 713-346-9911 or check us out online at nextgenappraisals.com.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties. Whether it's a flip rehab or a rental rehab, we manage every aspect of a rehab from start to finish with a highly efficient, standardized process.
2.5 minutes.
Over the last 6 years, Fast Track has completed over 700 projects, which has helped us to create our 3 keys to success. Use a detailed scope of work so that everything gets done, train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right, and complete the work in a proper order so it gets done fast.
No more managing it yourself, no more doing the work yourself. Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at 832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992, or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Time is money in a real estate deal. If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You need a quick turnaround on quotes or binders? The agency for that is Benchmark Insurance Group of Texas. The team at Benchmark understands the investor mindset. They know what you need and when you need it. We're here for you. Are you a rehabber, wholesaler, buy and hold, or flipper? Bundling your properties on a single policy will help save time and money. Benchmark has been in business for over 10 years, and we insure over 30,000 properties. Contact Benchmark about our exclusive investor package. Call us and let us show you what we can do for you at 281-569-4353. That's 281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com. That's benchmarkbroker.com. That's 281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
Have you ever experienced the pain of trying to get MLS comps for your hot lead? If you've lost deals waiting for MLS comps, you can understand the frustration. How much would it help you if you no longer had to wait for a real estate agent to get you the info you need to close a deal? Propelio is a brokerage website that gives you instant 24/7 access to high-equity lead lists and comps with access to a network of the top real estate agents. Get an edge on everyone else. Get a free 7-day trial today by going to getmlscomps.com now. That's getmlscomps.com.
Are small returns getting in the way of your retirement
All right,
plans?
30 seconds.
Why settle for mediocre results? There's a better place to invest. The experts agree, single-family real estate is one of the best investments you can make. Find out how JB Fund Services offers a 9% preferred return and up to a 13% waterfall. Call us today at 281-915-0906 or visit our website, jbfundservices.com. That's 281-915-0906. This investment is offered to accredited investors.
This is Business 1110.
Call Jason or Tom.
All right, Tom. I'm going to turn on the mics. Hot mics, hot mics.
1817. Or look for us on Facebook Live at facebook.com/RightPathRealEstate.
Hot mics.
Welcome back. I don't know, this just throws me, but that's not going to work. We're going to have music on that. All right, you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. So talking about the mistakes that you can make. Really, there's only a couple of mistakes that you can make. One is, the big mistake that I see people make is missing what the ARV is. Second mistake is missing what the rehab number is. And we've got a fix for that as well, make it really, really simple. If you want to find out more about that, you can come to our Thursday event. We also train in our weekend retreat. We teach people how to calculate, rehab estimates in less than 10 minutes. If you want to do it manually, you can do it in about 30 minutes. So you've got to be able to get that number correctly. And what you're really doing is, and a lot of times people say, well, how do I know what I need to do with the house? All you've got to do is compare what your house looks like versus what the comps look like, and you really have to spend some time studying the comps. And so you have to look at the kitchen, for example, and the bathrooms and the bedrooms and, what kind of fixtures, electrical fixtures, plumbing fixtures, those kind of things. And you're trying to make your house look like that house. And if you do that, your house should sell for what the other house sells for, plus or minus, right? And then you have to look at what's making the difference between those houses. Third thing is what are your holding costs? The very first time that we lost money on a house, it wasn't that we kind of missed on the ARV. We really did. We got expert opinions, things like that. They said the market had kind of shifted. The other thing is we bought, if you're staying size-wise and money-wise near where median homes are, anywhere from about 1,500 square feet to about 3,000 square feet, and you're staying, plus or minus, $150,000 on either side of about $225,000, $230,000. Then, on the low side, $175 for flipping. On the upper side, maybe $450, something like that. The further you get away from the median size or median price, the more risky it becomes. So the first house we ever lost money on, it was a 6,800 square foot house. Not many buyers at any price, even for $200,000. There's that's a tough property to sell. Not very many people want it, regardless of price. So you want to stay away from those kind of properties. So holding costs is another area you got to really understand. If you hold a property, you're budgeting 90 days to hold it, and you hold it for a year, holding costs will kill you unless you've got your own money in the deal. But then you're not being true to what the deal costs because you're not charging the right amount of money for the cost of your money, and you're really not giving an accurate portrayal of what the deal is costing you, what your profit is going to be. In fact, you watch these TV shows. That's one of the things that I have trouble with all the real estate investing TV shows. They say, I bought this house for $300,000, and I put $100,000 into the rehab, so that's $400,000, and we put it on the market for $500,000, and we have a $100,000 potential profit. And the reality is when you sell a house for $500,000, it's going to cost you on average about $50,000 just to sell it. So that reduces your potential profit immediately by half. And then your holding costs kills the other part. So go to rightpathrealestate.com, register for our event. It's going to be Thursday, July the 6th. Look forward to seeing you there. And I'll be in here tomorrow with the foundation company. Look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. Have a great day.
All right, mic's off.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Thanks. See you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah.